mode.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Capricorn pre-full moon webinar. We always warm up a little bit before the full moon. The actual full moon, well, you have two links in your chat box, which are important. Sometimes with the Swiss ephemeris, there's a little difference between the time given for the full moon and conventionally and the Swiss ephemeris, which is supposed to be extremely accurate. So the Swiss ephemeris time for the full moon tomorrow on the 12th of December is 11:33 and 53 seconds GMT. And here in Finland, 2 hours later, we'll be celebrating that full moon after the noon. But we will begin our full moon broadcast with music and meditation, the exact full moon broadcast at 10 a.m. GMT. And then another link that you have in your chat box is for the Capricorn Solar Fire Ritual Oratorio Meditation. This sounds like a long title, but you know I've composed music for the various signs of the zodiac and accompanied that music with the opportunity for meditation on the entire history of the soul in each sign of the zodiac. So if you'd like to tune in tomorrow, it'll be more in the evening GMT. It's 8 p.m. GMT. We'll be broadcasting that. So now, and one more thing I'd like to say. If for any reason the link that we've given you should not work, but it will work, you can always use the Ask Comprehensive broadcast link. That will pick up whatever we are sending. So you should have that because, excuse me, we've been going, pardon me, we've been going a long time with the Ask programs. But, try to use the link we've given you, and if for any reason you have trouble, use the Ask link. Now, Capricorn, well, it's the acme, it's the peak of the signs of the zodiac in many ways. Even its glyph is mysterious. It's not given to us. We have an approximation of the glyph because the Tibetan has said that if rendered properly, it's even more powerful than the pentagram and more dangerous than the open and unprotected pentagram. So we know about initiatory energies and that we often must be very prepared to receive them. Otherwise, our vehicles can suffer an overload of energy and a considerable setback. When we do reach the mountaintop, this is let's call it the first great mountaintop in terms of the way the hierarchy celebrates initiations. It's the first solar initiation. We enter what's called the supernal light. It's a combination of the light of the spiritual sun and the light of Venus, and as far as the individual is concerned, the light of the monad, because at this point, the monad becomes a real factor in the consciousness of the individual. The beautiful words associated with Capricorn, the mantram, the spiritual mantram, lost am I in light supernal, yet on that light I turn my back. And all of this is for the purposes of service. The first two rulers of Capricorn, as we see here in the banner, are Saturn, representing karma, and another Saturn, esoterically, representing the climbing of the mountain of karma and the overcoming of karma by the fulfillment of all responsibilities and duties. And finally, the highest ruler, which applies to the initiate consciousness, is Venus. And Venus represents an aspect of the supernal light. It's the exaltation of the soul on the mountaintop. It represents the use of the ajna center, from which grows the horn of the unicorn, which has a triple power. It is a great mover of relationships and events. It's a great perceiver, and it's also a great destroyer and a weapon. All three aspects, three highest divine aspects, are represented in the horn of the unicorn. In the Jafra illustration, we don't see the unicorn on top of the mountain. We see the resplendent goat, and maybe the idea of the unicorn in Capricorn is not so well understood. But we do see the glorification of the light. And in this densest of all the earth signs, we have a great glory of light supernal. Interesting as well that with Taurus, which is considered to be a very earthy sign, ruling the plains and the fields of earth, we also have a great display of light. I see, and when the eye is opened, all is illumined. So there's a great illumination, surprisingly, with two of these earth signs. And it represents both old age in the strictly human sense, and also old age in terms of one's experience as a human being, as one prepares to enter a new world. And it represents being born again as well, born again into a higher and more spiritual world. It's the gate into life of those who know not death, whereas Cancer is the opposite gate. We say that Cancer is the gate into life. It's really the gate into a kind of death of consciousness. Well, a great aspiration is ignited in Capricorn, and the possibility of achieving things spiritually which it takes millions of years to attain. But finally, Capricorn becomes the true initiate. And the amazing thing about this sign is that it is operative at all of the first 5 initiations in different ways. It's the birth of the Christ at the first. It's the one who crosses the water at the second initiation. It's the climbing the mountaintop, the first great solar mountaintop at the third initiation. And at the fourth initiation, it represents that kind of achievement which liberates us from the causal body, and then the very acme of mastership and control of the lower 18 subplanes and even of the lower 21 subplanes is achieved at the 5th initiation. So, Capricorn so often represents a great factor of intelligent, powerful, willful control. So there are different ways in which it is found at each of the first 5 initiations. But, if you have Capricorn powerful in your chart, or at this time of year, there are acts of will which we can undertake and which we can resolve upon, and they will lead to the kind of achievements that we have perhaps not been able to attain in the past. So the will is strengthened, and eventually this will in Capricorn becomes the will that overcomes death altogether. So there are great powers released at this time, and as we are moving in these 7 days of the Capricorn full moon period, let's take advantage of the possibility of spiritual attainment, but of course for the sake of others, because as it says, lost am I in light supernal. All around me is the great glory of the higher planes, but on that light I turn my back and I descend into the depths for the sake of service. Francis Donald has some very interesting and actually beautiful illustrations here. Let's see if this first one is one that I think has been very popular and people really like it. It's a picture of the candidate in the Pyramidion, and and I think he has some things to say about it. He's sitting on the lion's skin. It means that he has overcome the king of beasts, the lion, and he's in the transparent capstone of the pyramid of initiation. I'll let him speak about this himself, as I think he's quite articulate here. Let's see, where am I? Okay, right here. As the sun pauses for a moment on the horizon, we step inside the Pyramidion. That's the capstone of the Great Pyramid, one of the most sacred places on earth. A rare moment in the life of the disciple is unfolding before us. This disciple is about to become an initiate. An initiate. We see the emergence of the consciousness of the initiate, white and one-pointed, and the defeat of the king of beasts, the personality. And that is the lion's skin upon which the candidate for initiation is sitting. The triumph of selflessness and illumination over selfishness. There's quite a relation between the fifth sign of the zodiac and also the 10th sign, which is Capricorn. I've even seen this in the marriages of people. Quite a few, the lion and the unicorn get together in that way. The king of beasts has been blinded and killed by the piercing of his eye and heart, by the long horn of the unicorn. So, there is a great unity of perception from the mountaintop, which is possible for the Capricorn individual, and that long horn of perception represents the way the unity is seen. Thus, we have the theme of this month's full moon entitled Initiation, the New Unicorn. Let's take a look at that again. It's a beautiful, beautiful image. I have a slightly smaller computer now, so I'm not sure that you'll see it as large as you have before, but okay, it will have to do. His victory has taught him to kneel upon his lion's skin. A Capricorn, every sign of the zodiac rules a different part of the body, and Capricorn rules the knees. And only when the Capricornian subject learns to kneel in all humility, says the Tibetan, and with his knees upon the rocky mountaintop, to offer his heart and life to the soul and to human service, can he be permitted to pass through the door of initiation and be entrusted with the secrets of life, the life aspect, the will that conquers death. This is closely associated with Capricorn. Only on his knees can he go through that door, and not standing proudly and stubbornly. He offers his heart and life to the soul by means of the mudra, and he shows us this mudra, which is interesting, representing the heights and the depths and the pit or the heart in between. He has a lot to say. We can't read it all, but you are in a position, maybe someone will put that into the chat box, where you can acquire all of Francis's illustrations and what he said about them. As the center of gravity shifts from personality to soul, as it does inevitably as we evolve, his inner vision opens. You see, Capricorn represents, in a way, the highest form of psychism. It represents the third eye fully developed, even more developed in a sense than the Taurian phase of development. The two horns have become the unicorn's great horn of plenty, of spiritual plenty. And then the Tibetan again, it has been occultly said that a vision of these powers and their many weaving lines, seen as rivers and streams of light, is given to the initiate from the mountaintop of Capricorn once that summit has been reached. This is all revealed at the third initiation, at the Transfiguration initiation. It is at the Transfiguration initiation that this vision appears before the eyes of the astounded disciples. So I assume we're getting ready to, be astounded by the kinds of energies that are released into our world and into our consciousness. On the altar before our disciples sits the crocodile-headed god Sobek. The crocodile, the goat, and the unicorn depict the three stages of man's spiritual unfoldment in Capricorn. And, there's many mysteries going on here. The fifth creative hierarchy is ruled by Capricorn, but it's a dual type of hierarchy, and part of it is very high, and another part of it is very personal. Sobek, with his two horns, the uraeus and the solar disk, carries attributes of all these stages, and he hastens the dissolution of the outgrown form. So here is the crocodile-headed god, and it's on the altar. And of course, what the candidate is interested here at his particular stage of evolution is neither the crocodile nor the goat, but indeed the unicorn. When linked with Heru, the falcon-headed principle of spiritual ascension, he becomes a potent transformer. And here is the falcon, the spiritual ascending part of ourselves, carrying the Ankh. Now, the Ankh up here is really the symbol of Venus, which is the highest hierarchical ruler in Capricorn, and carrying the possibility of this supernal light. Venus, from the perspective of the Earth, is the most lighted of all the planets, and although it is not the equal of, let us say, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, etc., in terms of its overall stature, it is the most rapidly evolving of all of the planets, just the way Christ is the most rapidly evolving of all human beings. So there are many beautiful things said here. Maybe we don't have time to look at them all, but it says a bit about the mudra. You can study that, representing the heart-steep cave and the heights and the depths. And that is very interesting about Capricorn. It is said that the highest of all types of human beings are born in Capricorn, the sun gods, and also the worst. So it represents the pits of hell and materialism, as well as the great attainments of those who have gone through the highest initiations and stand upon ever higher mountaintops. The first mountaintop of the Transfiguration, although it seems a great achievement to us, is just a minor mountaintop when compared with the fifth initiation, the third initiation, the ninth, and beyond. In his book, Initiation, The Rays and the Initiations, the Tibetan lays all this out. And just to let you know that, after a year of pausing on my video commentaries on the Rays and the Initiations, especially now the second part, which has to do with initiation, I have again resumed these video commentaries, and you will be able to find them on Makara. I think I've done 7 in the last couple of days, something like that. So if you're interested in studying that wonderful book about initiation, you can go to Makara, and the book is there, and some thoughts that I have on these things are there as well, if that proves helpful to you. Let's see, a little bit more perhaps. Although there's many beautiful things said. Let's just quote from the Tibetan a bit. Francis puts in some amazing geometrical ideas, and some of you may wish to review his series on sacred geometry, which he has been doing, I think over a year, and they are found on Makara as well. Okay, so Capricorn, in the perfect example of the influences of Capricorn, head and heart are perfectly balanced. So even though it's a sign whose rays are ray 1, ray 3, and ray 7, we find that the heart, the initiate's heart in Venus is much accentuated. Venus is a great heart planet, and sometimes is even said to represent a heart center in the solar logos, and it is the the highest ruler of Capricorn. Capricorn admits the soul into conscious participation in the life of that world center we call hierarchy. It's a tough sign, but it gets you there, and the same we might say of Scorpio. So the true initiate is found in Capricorn, and by the time we reach the 3rd degree, which Capricorn represents above all the other initiated possibilities or initiatory possibilities, we have entered the hierarchy. Not as a master, but certainly within the ashram. Capricorn is ever the sign of conclusion, and of this the mountaintop is frequently the symbol, for it marks a point beyond which further ascent in any particular life cycle is not possible. But, from that mountaintop, you may see many other mountain peaks, and your aspiration may be stimulated for still higher attainments. But you can't really leap from peak to peak. You have to descend into the valley of despair and offer the kind of illumination and service from that illumination, the illumination you have seen from the mountaintop. So, those people who have the strong Capricorn, you know what it means to attain, and you know what it means to descend in order to serve. Well, anyway, beautiful things said here, and please do look up Francis's illustrations and also what he said about them. And here he has another one as well. This is called the Gompa, and there is another ascent to a meditation center at the top of the mountain, where we meet the master and we are instructed in esotericism and the secrets. Capricorn is a very mysterious sign, and it's connected deeply with occultism and with the secrets of initiation, which can only be granted to a person when they have proven their sense of responsibility. So, I could spend the whole time on these illustrations and what he said, but I just encourage you to find the way to get to his illustrations, and I think maybe BL, if you would be so kind as to put them in there for people, how they can find the illustrations that Francis has made and his writings on them. Excuse me, friends.
Michael.
Yes.
Michael, they are there in the chat box, so people can look there.
So glad, and thank you so much. Excuse me, just a little water here. And now we will go on to our meditation. Okay. Oh, by the way, I wanted to show you also Dwayne Carpenter's wonderful illustration here. The rays 1 in red, 3 in green, and 7 in violet are shown. And actually, Capricorn, interestingly, at this time, bestows more 7th ray than does any other sign of the zodiac. And it shows you it rules the 7th or densest plane, but at the same time, it rules the highest plane, and in a way, the entire cosmic physical plane. Here, the unicorn is not depicted, but the ajna center is, and the 1st and 3rd ray, notice that the center of this green is the red dot of the 1st ray. This is a very hard line sign, and yet it admits to the third initiation, which is the first solar initiation. And the fact that it's a solar initiation ties it in with the great heart of our solar logos. Remember, our solar logos has a second ray personality and a second ray soul. And that soul will stay the same, even though the personality will move on to the first ray in the next solar system. So this is a time for attainment, friends, and let us think about the attainments that are possible for us, and that our soul, our solar angel, our angel of the presence, that being is prompting us to achieve. We have more days here in Capricorn. We have at least another something like 10 days, something like that. Let us think seriously of attainments which we can achieve if our spiritual will is stimulated. And interestingly enough, of course, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn rules the plane of the spiritual will. So whatever spiritual will means to you, let us find a way to activate it and express it in our lives. All right, now we'll move on to the meditation, the form of which you are familiar with from these 5 or 6 years that we've been doing it. But every meditation is different, and different types of contacts can be made. So we are here, almost 12 hours before the full moon. And that would, when the 12 hours before the full moon, give us what's called the day of safeguarding. Right now we're in the day of dedication, followed by the 3 days of distribution. So let us ponder together, reaching out towards each other, knowing that we are involved together here in an act of service, trying to condition the consciousness of humanity in the right direction, and Lord knows it needs it at this time. So, linking up with each other in different continents on the planet, we withdraw our consciousness from the ordinary human being that we sometimes think we are. We withdraw our consciousness from the threefold personality. The old Raja Yoga affirmation, I have a body, but I am not that body. I have emotional states and desires, but I am not those. I have a lower mind, but I am not that. What then am I? I'm the observer. I'm the observer of all those things. And ultimately we will discover the observer to be the spirit itself. I am the monad, ultimately. And as we use our creative imagination to slip away from our ordinary identifications, they seem to fade out, and we imagine or seem to see that we are entering a field of light and love and spiritual power. It is our truer home. And we're all together wherever we are, geographically. It doesn't make any difference. Wherever we are geographically, we're in this field of together of light and love and spiritual power. So we feel ourselves merging into a deep sense of the group soul. The soul is always group conscious. It's an individual with its own qualities, and yet it is inseparably related to all other causal bodies, egoic lotuses, all other souls. It's only one soul. It's one consciousness with many sets of eyes, so to speak. And we imagine out there the spiritually minded people of the world, the new group of world servers, the men and women of goodwill. The world is filled with such individuals. We don't know them personally. Maybe some we know. And we feel ourselves united with them in the state of the soul. They're working on something for their country, for their nation, for their community. We may not be aware of what they're doing, but we know it's for the good. And so through the heart center, we feel that sense of union with these people. The group sense grows in us, and we've merged with our fellow workers out there or in there really, and we visualize our own group soul merging with the one soul of humanity. No matter who people are, whether they're in the body or out of the body, or whether they are conventionally good people or not so good people, we are one in soul with these people. It's all one humanity. And we realize what the Tibetan has told us, if we can realize it. We should ponder on it often. There is no my soul or thy soul. There's only the soul, the one soul. And the ancient statement which conveys this truth, very subtle, naught is but me. Naught is but me. Not the personal me, of course. I could even change that to capital Me. Naught is but me. So that goes a long way towards overcoming the heresy of separativeness. With the lower mind, we see everything as separate from everything else, but really, it's all one thing, it's all one being, it's all one me, all one I. So 5 or 10 minutes a day surely can be given to making that realization real. So here we are focused on the plane of mind, together on the fourth subplane of the mental plane. That's where we're going to launch our Antakarana, our bridge of light. And we need the vitality and imagination to launch that bridge. We need the will of the soul. We're going to imaginatively call in some soul energy along the line of will into our group point of focus. our group point of tension. We'll call in the will to initiate, the will to unify, the will to evolve, the will to harmonize, the will to act in a most practical manner, really, fifth ray, the will to cause, and the will to express. We call upon our group soul to strengthen our point of tension on the mental plane with that kind of, those kinds of will. You know, go to your esoteric astrology book toward the end and you'll see marvelous descriptions of the higher will. Now, this point of tension is going to lead us to the second stage of building the Antakarana. It's visualization, imagination. And each one of us sees a two-colored bridge, which represents the colors of our soul ray and our personality ray. And you know, if you know them, that's great. And if not, you can use the color indigo. You know how it goes: red for ray 1, indigo ray 2, green for ray 3, yellow for ray 4, orange for ray 5, silvery rose or light blue for ray 6, and violet for ray 7. So in your own way, using your creative imagination, you build a bridge from your point of mental focus up into the triad, or inward into the triad, and it even reaches to the Buddhic plane and beyond. But the Buddhic plane holds the design in pure reason, the love, the wisdom. And we want that Buddhic energy, which is the Christ energy, to affect our desires, our aspirations. So Buddhi comes in contact with the astral energy. So you work at building your bridge with two colors or with the color indigo. You're building in very fine substance. It's a creative act. It's a triple bridge. The Sutratma, the consciousness thread, and the creative thread, and you're working with the creative thread particularly, and it extends upward. Not really upward, but upward into the triad, reaching also spiritual will on the atmic plane, we imagine so, and even into the monad, however you want to conceive that, the blue-white diamond of the monad, the 12-fold monad. And your own bridge reaches there, but all the other colors of the group members also are weaving together, forming like a cone of multicolored light, rising upward through the triad and anchoring in the spirit, in the sense of being. So we are all builders in the light, weavers in the light, building towards the higher parts of our nature. And we're going to throw a beam of brilliant white light upward, projecting it upward through the triad and to the monad. And we're going to use a word of power on the second ray as a group. You may be a first ray soul or a third ray soul or sixth ray, whatever, and you would use your own word of power for your own ray when you're doing this individually. But as a group, we're going to use the second ray word of power. I see the greatest light, and we're going to sound an outward Om on one of the notes associated with the second ray, which is a G. And inwardly, we will affirm to ourselves, I see the greatest light. And we're doing this as a group. So the outward Om on G, and then inwardly, I see the greatest light. And it's as if our ascending cone of multiple qualities and colors has been activated and somehow touches that higher part of our nature we call the spiritual triad and the monad. These are suprapersonal realms, really impersonal realms. And so as we're thinking about the energies available now, something of the wisdom and the power and the intelligence of those higher realms can descend into our group consciousness. Now, in that world that we are penetrating into, that's the place where, or the point of tension at which the masters are always focused. Their consciousness is triadal, and if they are Chohan, their consciousness is monadic. So we are the outer workers, but we are solidly with them, and we offer our salutations. This is a process which actually DK gave in some of his meditations to his groups of disciples. I'm not making it up. He offered us the opportunity to declare our solidarity with the hierarchy. So being open then to that triadal altitude, which is very encompassing, very embracing, very inclusive, we offer our salutations to certain members of the hierarchy and then to all of the hierarchy. So, and we will precede the salutation by the Om. So inwardly and with heartfelt gratitude, we're offering our salutations to our elders and to the head of the hierarchy, the Christ. Salutations to the Christ, the Master of all masters, the teacher alike of angels and of men. Salutations to the triangle of masters with whom we work most closely, Masters M, KH, and DK. Salutations to the Master Morya, the head of all esoteric schools and organizations, the coming Manu of the sixth root race. Salutations to the Master Kutumi, the head of the second ray ashram, the Bodhisattva of the sixth root race, and the one whose ashram is now most responsible for preparing for the reappearance of his brother, Lord Maitreya, the present Christ. Salutations to the Master Jwal Kul, who has given to us the blue books and also so much of the information given to us by Helena Blavatsky. And he is the messenger of the masters, and he is the one who trains aspirants for the first three initiations. Salutations to your own master as you know him to be or conceive him to be. Salutations to the entire spiritual hierarchy of our planet. Now, in this work of expressing solidarity with our spiritual elders, we raise our thoughts as a group towards the center where the will of God is known, Shambhala. And with deepest reverence and in all humility, we attempt, identified as a group soul, to attune to the presence of Sanat Kumara, the greatest savior on our planet, the one who stands at the center of Shambhala. And we inwardly sound a long, silent Om as we imagine the group to be imbued with as much of His energy, His will, His purpose, His plan as we can absorb. A long, interior, silent Om. Now, our work will be to enter the indigo disc together imaginatively. There's that long golden pathway into the indigo sun. And we, the group, a meditating group, are like a point of light and love and power above the pathway. We've come together. Our personal differences make no difference. We are united in soul at a point of tension. We're all in one space, as it were. And as that golden pathway shortens, we travel with it, shorter and shorter, into the indigo sun. And it's as if we are in this great indigo sun. It reminds one of the blue logos, our great solar god of love. And in this indigo sun, we, as it were, find the presence of Master DK, that a great, wise and knowledgeable master who knows more about the astrological and rheological and hierarchical energies than the other masters, we're told. Very learned, and his consciousness, as it were, supports us as we rise to meet the available energies at this time. And we're going to meet the energies emanating from the planet Saturn, the conveyor of discipline in the honoring of all of life's duties and karmic requirements. We have to fulfill our Saturn. And the esoteric meaning conveying to us the resolve, the will, the intelligence to live according to the laws of the soul, thus fulfilling our dharma in the divine plan. So important for disciples. We're going to meet the energies of Venus, the hierarchical ruler, and it will convey to us full illumination coming from the world of the soul. And it will make of us eventually the transfigured soul in incarnation. Now, these energies are available and these deities are real. And now they are especially accented because of the time. So let's, supported by the consciousness of Master DK, and working together as if we were one consciousness and one intelligence, let's ponder on the power of Saturn, strangely called the planet of opportunity. But it is certainly spiritual opportunity with all of its difficulties and challenges, rather than strictly personal opportunity. So we have the opportunity to bring ourselves and the group into alignment with karmic law through the very serious business of exercising spiritual responsibility in the way we conduct our lives. It's not easy, but it has to be done. Nothing about Saturn is easy. And we realize that if we can fulfill our spiritual and group responsibilities, it's a real indication that one is responding to the soul, truly living one's life in the lower three worlds according to the responsibilities that the soul would have us fulfill. What are those responsibilities in your life, in your group's life? And we imagine this stream of the exoteric Saturn coming into our group life, strengthening us, giving us the fiber we need, the sense of right conformity to the law, the willingness to face without complaint that which we have set in motion in the past, and to do it for the sake of spiritual responsibility and fitting ourselves for future usefulness. So let's imagine the energy of Saturn flowing into our individual and group life. I'll use a third ray note. It's the F, the Fa, and we'll imagine that energy coming in and strengthening us as only Saturn can do. So we have that willingness to face the duties and responsibilities which karma presents. And we'll be able to call ourselves disciples if we can do that, not just aspirants. But Saturn continues to flow into our group life in an esoteric manner. And it's not just what we've set in motion in the past. It's what we are meant to do. It's our dharma. It's the divine plan. And we are responsible for a little part of that plan in our own individual sphere or in our group sphere. Somehow we are enacting the divine plan. And in order to do that, we have to, just like Sanat Kumara has done, we have to realize the true meaning of voluntary sacrifice, animated by the spiritual will, which is coming from the Saturnian plane, the Atmic plane, from Lord Brahma. Saturn is in many ways Lord Brahma. We have a part to play in the divine plan. What is it? And how are we doing? And if each one of us plays our little part, then a much larger expression will be successful. So here in Capricorn, meditation upon the plan and our part in it is unusually important. Serious consideration. Small though it is, tiny though it is, what is expected of us in relation to externalizing the divine plan. So we're going to let those energies flow again into our group life, into our individual life on the third ray note, because above all, Saturn has a third ray monad. And we'll be strengthened by that inflow to express our part in the divine plan and our group's part in the divine plan. But strangely, to those who are familiar only with the outer form of astrology, Venus is the highest ruler in Capricorn. The beautiful Venus, bestowing its qualities of pure spiritual love, and to bring that love into union with luminous spiritual knowledge. It's a blend of the fifth ray and the second ray with even the sixth ray of devotion found on very high levels of the Venus influence. So it's producing wisdom. That's where the second ray qualities are coming in relation to Capricorn. The union of the heart and the mind, which we realize when we have reached the first great mountaintop at the Transfiguration. Venus in Capricorn will reveal the secret of the soul. We always talk about the soul, but what do we know? There are deep secrets of love and wisdom and great intelligence in that sphere of the soul. And our solar angel, its energy can be released much more fully into our spiritualized personality under the influence of Venus. So let's think about Venus that way. It's at this time, the elder sister of Earth. They may have been intended to be at the same level of unfoldment at this time, but the Earth was held back, we're told, and Venus succeeded. So it's our great prototype, and we're trying to be more and more like Venus, and as a personality, more and more like the soul. If we really could touch that Venus energy, and we can in a very austere and beautiful way during the time of Capricorn. So we open our consciousness to impression of the Venusian energy, where we individually or our groups may be most in need of that energy. Think about it. Think about peace, about right human relations, about seeing the soul in everybody rather than just being blinded by the more obvious personality. Think about seeing the real value, spiritual value of every individual and the contribution they can make. Think about knowledge, wisdom, and love when you think about other individuals. And we'll use the note A, a fifth ray note, because we're dealing mostly with the soul of Venus on the fifth ray, but it's a ray imbued by the soft line rays 2 and 6 above. So we'll see that luminous, loving, wise knowledge flowing into our individual life and into our groups. Our groups could certainly use the right kind of Venus energy. We'll sound the Om on the A. How interesting that the orchestra is tuned to the A. So Saturn and Venus, these are the gods that we are encountering at this time of Capricorn emphasis. But of course, the great Solar Logos is pouring through all of them with its love and wisdom. And we should never forget the Solar Logos and its vehicle, the sun. It's a great heart center and a cosmic logos, a heart of fiery love. And somehow, as monads, as spirits, all of us have a kind of home within the Solar Logos. We may not realize it yet, but we will realize it. So that great solar energy, it's the energy of love, wisdom. It is pouring through every monad, every soul, every personality, through all of us. We're all children of the sun, at least at this time. And this is a very solar time. We call it the full moon, but it means really full sun festivals. The moon is, with its retrogressive tendencies, is out of the way. So whether it's light or dark where you are right now, just imagine your home is within the sun and that you are a unit of love, wisdom, energy, regardless of what your rays may be. And from the God of love, what a privilege it is to be in a solar system where the great deity is a heart center. We're going to focus imaginatively upon the constellation Capricorn. It's It's a big constellation. The goat, the unicorn, it's a triangle, really. If you've ever seen it, it's massive. A great triangle in the sky representing its close connection with the third aspect of divinity. If you look at the three first ray signs, Aries, Leo, Capricorn, Capricorn has a greater influence on the third ray. Aries first, Leo second. So there's so much seventh ray as well coming through. The great ceremonial magic, it'll be very important during this age of magic which we're entering. And for all who are going to take initiation, and that will be many, Capricorn is the leading sign. So if you kind of remember that big triangle in the sky, I was amazed when I first saw it. We ponder on the spiritual mantram of Capricorn, what it means to us individually, what it means to our groups. Ponder deeply, and from this time forward until the full moon and afterwards, as we distribute the energy, lost am I in light supernal, yet on that light I turn my back. We attempt to grasp the esoteric meaning and significance as if we have climbed the mountain of initiation and are truly lost in the light supernal, but realize the necessity in service of turning our back upon the supernal light and radiating it out to others in the valleys below. Lost am I in light supernal, yet on that light I turn my back. We're not allowed to be lost in the glory of the light we increasingly encounter. We have to share it. We have to revolve upon the pedestal of light and turn the other way and face toward the dark. And the 7 points of light within us transmit the outward streaming radiance. And lo, the face of those upon the darkened path receive that light. For them the way is not so dark. Behind the warriors, twixt the light and dark, blazes the light of hierarchy. That's what we have to do. Lost am I in light supernal, yet on that light I turn my back. The glory of the light holds its temptations. He who faces towards the light and stands within its radiance is blinded to the issues of the world of men. He passes on the lighted way towards the great center of absorption. But he who feels the urge to pass that way, yet loves his brother on the darkened path, revolves upon the pedestal of light and turns the other way. He faces towards the dark, and then the 7 points of light within him transmit the outward streaming radiance, and lo, the face of those upon the darkened way receive that light. For them the way is not so dark. Lost am I in light supernal, yet on that light I turn my back. And let us intensify this light, this supernal light in our lives so that truly we can become light bearers to those who need the light. And their name is Legion. So many need the great supernal light, and we, whatever our level of illumination, are in a position to provide for others at least some of the light of the ageless wisdom. And we will build towards that full moon moment, which occurs at 11:33 and 53 seconds tomorrow, the 12th of January. That's GMT time. And as we build, we will imagine the great flow from the Pleiades, from the, in a way, our local one about whom naught may be said, and through that part of the head center, the heart within the head center, ruled by Capricorn, and out on, well, through several constellations, the dragon among them, the great bear, and into our local cosmic logos, in which our solar logos is a heart center. And through the solar logos to the ancient god Saturn and to the rapidly evolving Christ-like planet Venus, and into Shambhala and our Earth, and through every monad and soul of hierarchy, through the whole hierarchy, and into the personalities of us all, linking the head, the throat, the base of the spine, the spiritual will descending, the will to conquer death descending, the magical order descending, the power to be initiated descending, and we look out into the world. We think of what human beings call achievement, but we know more about what achievement really is in the fields of light, love, and will. We see there are places of trouble, and we send some of this Capricornian energy, the accompanying planets, the ray energies. We send the energy into a trouble spot of our own choosing. And we watch as these energies flow in, some correction being made, some improvement being made, something of the quality of Capricorn helping to rectify the situation. And we sound the Om, confident that this energy, in whatever troubled area we have chosen, can make a difference. So that human beings will at last recognize there is spiritual law and learn to obey it. And now together, we will close with the sounding of the great invocation. As if in unison with the Christ and the Masters of the Wisdom and the members of your groups, this great mantram of light and power, given to the world when the Christ said he would return in physical form to the earth and be the Bodhisattva of the Aquarian age. And then as we sound the Om 3 times, we will spread the light, love, and power to all humanity, all kingdoms of nature, and the planet. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Build towards the moment of the full moon, friends, whether you're awake or asleep. 11:33, 53 GMT tomorrow, and we'll start our, Tuya will be giving the broadcast with music and image meditation starting at 10 o'clock GMT. And then at 8 o'clock GMT in the night, I'll present the Capricorn Solar Fire ritual oratorio, and it's a meditation too. So if you'd like to join us for that musical meditative experience, you're most welcome. And the link is in your chat box. So you can copy it and copy both links. Okay, it's an important full moon. And so the energies are powerful. Let's make the best of them. And we'll be seeing at least some of you tomorrow. We have 2 more broadcasts coming up. All the best to you, and have a wonderful full moon, very purposeful, very powerful, very full of resolution, because, if we're ever going to be strong, this is the time to do it under the influences of Capricorn. So all the best, and we'll be, this will soon be on Makara, this video, and you can use it for the days of distribution, or you can recommend it to your friends if you wish. Okay, all the very best, and we'll see you now. Bye-bye.